37. That is the number of MCU movies released since 2008, and LEGO has made sets for 33 of them. Today we will rank every single MCU movie from Iron Man to Fantastic Four by just how good their LEGO sets were. Welcome to the Brick Collectibles Show. Tell me what MCU movie has your favorite LEGO Marvel set in the comments, and let's get into it. So we'll go in order of release, I'd say, and that kicks us off with Iron Man 1. It's a little difficult determining what sets actually count for this movie, but we're looking at 2 to 3 sets, with the Iron Man Mark III Collector's Edition adding a 4th to that. Overall, none of them are that strong, especially looking at the god-awful Iron Man helmet and the fact that there's only one minifig scale set in the Ironmonger Mayhem. Iron Man 1 goes into C tier. Next up is the Incredible Hulk, and this swiftly goes into the lowest tier, since even 17 years after its release, there still hasn't been a single LEGO set to accompany it. Following that is Iron Man 2, which has one of the worst priced sets in its sub-theme ever, being the Iron Man Armory from 2022. Sadly, none of the other sets managed to drag this movie's rating up significantly, which isn't helped by the fact that there are only 4 sets for this movie, 5 if you want to add the Marvel logo, meaning Iron Man 2 will find its place in D tier. Thor 1 is our next one, and it remains a divisive topic whether Thor's hammer qualifies as a set for this movie. For the sake of this video, I'll count it, but let's face it, this isn't an all-timer set, and it's also the only set this movie has, which is why it will swiftly go down right into E tier. Pretty much the same goes for Captain America: The First Avenger. His shield is basically the only set this film has gotten, even that is debatable, and the only other inkling of this MCU movie is in the Marvel logo again, which features Steve Rogers in his World War II suits. But all in all, another pretty weak performance, which is why it'll join Thor 1 in E tier. Now finishing up phase 1 of the MCU is Avengers, also showcasing a significant jump in quality of the accompanying LEGO sets. Even the original wave of sets was more than solid, the Quinjet Aerial Battle obviously being a clear highlight, and it has only been enhanced by the Infinity Saga sets. Especially 2023's Avengers Quinjet was fantastic, and the Avengers Tower from that very same year picked up a few scenes from that movie as well. All of this is the reason why Avengers is the first film to go into A tier. As the first phase 2 and last Iron Man movie, we've now got Iron Man 3. This is the first MCU movie after Avengers to get some LEGO sets right at its release, but has also only received a single set since then. The sets are all in all fine. The Malibu Mansion Attack was a cool set for its time, and overall, Iron Man 3 fits well into B tier. Next up is one of the worst MCU movies, Thor: The Dark World, and apparently LEGO realized that, which is the reason there isn't a single accompanying set, so that's why it goes straight down into the lowest tier. Immediately following one of the worst MCU movies is one of the best, in my opinion the best, Captain America: The Winter Soldier. While it's a fantastic movie, it sadly only got a single polybag. Now that polybag wasn't bad, but this sub-theme barely exists, which is why it's going into E tier. Guardians of the Galaxy is the next movie, and this film has gotten some outstanding LEGO sets. Its initial wave was flawless, with a price range of $25 to $75, on which it fully delivered. The Milano Spaceship Rescue in particular was outstanding, and put even Volume 2's Milano to shame, only topped by 2024's iteration, further adding to this line's quality. Rocket's Warbird vs. Ronin was admittedly not a fantastic set, like so many of the later Infinity Saga ones, but all in all, this is our first S-tier movie. While Age of Ultron may have been a controversial movie, it sure gave us some incredible sets since 2015. Again, we got an amazing first wave, with highlights like our first Avengers Tower, the Avengers Quinjet City Chase, or the UCS Shield Helicarrier, but it definitely suffered under following releases. Whether it be the 4+ sets, the UCS Hulkbusters, or the Avengers Assemble, Age of Ultron, although a cool set, very overpriced. This year's Quinjet though was great, and with the first wave in mind, this is a comfortable A tier. For the end of phase 2, we have got Ant-Man. Now, Ant-Man also just had a single set in the Ant-Man Final Battle. Unlike other movies so far though, this set rocks so hard. The build was a wonderful spin on the final confrontation from the movie, and the figures were nothing other than fantastic. With its single set, Ant-Man moves into B tier. Next up is Captain America: Civil War, a movie that has kind of been abandoned by LEGO. Its first wave was great, and a set like the superhero airport battle remains a staple of the early years of LEGO Marvel. Since its release though, LEGO has only put out a single set for the film, the Captain America: Civil War battle, which reached nowhere near the heights of its predecessor. Sadly, this theme also doesn't have that one generational set like Guardians of the Galaxy for example, which is why it'll join the first 2 Avengers movie in A. Doctor Strange joined the MCU in 2016, and LEGO created one set to accompany it. Doctor Strange's Sanctum Sanctorum was all in all a fine set, with minifigs like Mordo and the Sorcerer Supreme being either unique or better than their follow-ups. It's quite middle of the road, which is why C tier seems like the perfect place for Doctor Strange. Up next is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, which sadly doesn't live up to the expectations the first one set. In general, the LEGO sets weren't bad, but they didn't achieve the heights of Volume 1 or either of the Avengers movies, partly also due to the relatively weak Infinity Saga sets. By no means is this film equipped with bad sets, and that's why I think it'll do well in B tier. Now, Spider-Man Homecoming is a weird case for LEGO, since it's a Spider-Man movie, but initially only got 2 sets. That's not a lot for a movie of this magnitude, but the 2 sets delivered where they needed to, and I think we also have to address the weird Spider-Man's drone duel. Is it a Homecoming set or a No Way Home one? No one knows, to be honest, but Homecoming will go into B tier. Next up, we've got Thor Ragnarok, the first Thor movie to receive any LEGO sets upon its release. Especially in terms of minifigures, this sub-theme delivered like few others. Some examples include Thor, Hela, and of course Gladiator Hulk. It wasn't outstanding, but the Thor vs. Surtur construction figure also gave us the last big part of the movie we were missing, which is why I'm more than comfortable going for the B-tier 3P here. Following that is Black Panther. Black Panther came out of the gate with a decent wave, not nearly as strong as Civil War, Age of Ultron, also due to its very limited size, but there were no clear misfires in their first wave. But similarly to Civil War, it was then also abandoned by LEGO until 2022, when they released Shuri's Lab and one of the worst D2Cs ever, simply called Black Panther. Because of that, it will sadly have to go into C tier, but there's obviously another Black Panther movie coming later. Avengers Infinity War is the next movie, and as all the Avengers movies so far, the original wave was incredible. LEGO was firing on all cylinders, and sets like the Thanos Ultimate Battle and the Sanctum Sanctorum Showdown set high bars for their successors. Sadly, there was very little follow-up. Of course, we got parts of Infinity War in the Avengers Tower and the Sanctum Sanctorum in 2022 and 2023, but other than that, it's looking a little sparse. The first wave was so amazing though that it will pull Infinity War up to the other two Avengers movies in A tier. Ant-Man and the Wasp follows in the footsteps of its predecessor with only a single set as well. Sadly, it doesn't live up to the very high standards that original set established. It's a decent set, but only one set, if it isn't of the quality of the Ant-Man Final Battle, isn't enough to pull this movie any higher than C tier. Next is Captain Marvel. It was kind of a mid-movie, and the LEGO sets, or rather the LEGO set, matched that energy. Captain Marvel and the Skrull Attack was a fun shot at the established Quinjet, but didn't live up to most previous iterations and is honestly just kind of forgettable. A year later, there was also the Captain Marvel and Nick Fury polybag, featuring an exclusive Captain Marvel figure, but that is not enough to put it anywhere above D tier. Endgame is obviously the biggest hit on this entire list, but I'ma make a bold claim and say that it has decent sets, but does not reach the heights of the first three Avengers movies. The entire original wave was inaccurate, both in sets and figures, which isn't to say that the sets were bad, but they didn't fit the movie at all. LEGO fixed this in 2021 with the introduction of the Infinity Saga line, releasing new minifigures and molds and even the generational Guardians ship. Following that though, the Infinity Saga fell off, with only single bright spots like the Endgame Final Battle for example, but also the potentially worst LEGO Marvel set ever, the Avengers Endgame Final Battle from this year. Even though A might seem like the first thought, Endgame is going into B tier. Now, to finish up Phase 3, we've got Spider-Man Far From Home. With a decent 4-set launch in 2019, this wave did much better in terms of not revealing any spoilers without being completely inaccurate. Due to that nature though, these sets sadly lacked an accurate black and red Spidey suit, which was fixed in 2021 though, when we also got an updated Mysterio. Overall, Far From Home had a good run of sets, good enough to qualify for B tier. Black Widow signified the MCU's return of the first COVID lockdown, and LEGO released 2 sets for it. One was an official release, the other was meant to be a Comic-Con exclusive, but ended up as an NA locked set that obviously pissed me off because it featured the exclusive Red Guardian. In general, the sets weren't fantastic though, pretty much middle of the road, which is why it's going into C tier. Now, next up is Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, which received 2 sets from LEGO, and they're very divisive for me. While the builds were fine in general, the minifigures were atrocious. The face prints were lazy, and LEGO just whitewashed all the characters, significantly dragging down this movie. Because of that, Shang-Chi's sets will go into C tier as well. Eternals is our next movie today, and while the movie wasn't very popular, it had an Avengers level first wave. LEGO launched 4 sets to accommodate the movie, but due to its reception, there have been no new sets since. The builds all in all were good, we have to get to the figures as well though. I like that we got every member of the Eternals, but it's incredibly obvious that LEGO was cutting costs with some of these figures. Like, for example, this is supposed to be Richard Madden. That's insane. So the figures drag it down from where it could be right into B tier. Up next is possibly the most hyped movie of the MCU, Spider-Man No Way Home. While it was one of the most anticipated Marvel movies ever, LEGO only released 1 proper set upon its release, 2 if you count the Spider-Man's drone duel. Later on, the Spider-Man Final Battle and Spider-Man vs. Sandman Final Battle followed, as well as 2 construction figures, but all in all, the sets weren't fantastic, some minifigures were truly underwhelming, which is why No Way Home will go into C tier today. The next movie is Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, a film that only received a single set from LEGO when it was released and was obviously also covered by the Sanctum Sanctorum in 2022. Now, Multiverse of Madness wasn't great, the Gigantus Showdown was a decent set but hardly gave an accurate representation of the movie, and the Sanctum, while not a bad set, is mostly regarded as the weakest Marvel modular. Because of that, Doctor Strange 2 will enter D tier. Thor Love and Thunder is the next movie, in my humble opinion, the worst MCU movie to date. There are 2 sets for this film, which are admittedly better than the actual movie, even if they aren't the cream of the crop. The Gold Boat was a fun set, but the Attack on New Asgard had one of the funkiest builds ever, and all in all, this is a mid-line of sets for an even worse movie, which is why it'll be C tier for Love and Thunder. As for the last movie of Phase 4, we have got Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. With its 3 sets in total, we get a decent mix of parts of the movie, and particularly the minifigures are a huge step up from the first film. Its rating is tanked by its pricing though, especially $90 for the War on the Water is a disaster, which is why it'll find its place in B tier. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania is the third Ant-Man movie to only receive a single set, and just as the actual movie, we just keep going down the ladder. The Ant-Man construction figure is one of the worst single set releases for film ever. It's made even worse by a similar appearance in the Civil War battle, which is why one of the worst MCU movies will go right down into E tier. Next up is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. While it was great, these sets were kind of a letdown, especially in comparison to its predecessors, with the new Guardians ship being nowhere near the level of even the original Milano. For a movie of this magnitude, only getting 3 sets is kind of crazy, and the minifigs don't make it any better, becoming even more apparent when considering that these figures don't cover all main characters, completely leaving out Gamora and the High Evolutionary. All in all, Volume 3 fits well into C tier. Now, The Marvels was, just like the first film, only bestowed with a single set, being the Hoopty, one of 2023's most overpriced sets. At a price point of $90, you do just expect more than 3 figures and 420 pieces, which is all you get here. It's an okay build with decent figures, but with that price, there's no way this goes any higher than E tier. Following that is Deadpool and Wolverine, the MCU's first R-rated movie, and as you know Lego, there were no sets for this film, so it's going all the way down. Our next movie is Captain America: Brave New World, a movie that didn't just disappoint in cinemas, but also in the Lego world. The Captain America vs. Red Hulk battle wasn't just a mid-set, but also came at a terrible price, and the new Captain America construction figure just joins a list of okay buildable characters. This is particularly disappointing after looking at its predecessor Civil War and seeing how that film delivered, which is why Brave New World will go almost all the way down to the bottom into E tier. Thunderbolts, on the other hand, was one of the best post-Endgame MCU movies, yet there wasn't a single Lego set to accompany it, despite it being a great opportunity for fans to get figures of characters like the US Agent, Sentry, or another Red Guardian. So Thunderbolts will not just finish off Phase 5, but also the lowest category. The last movie for this video is the Fantastic Four: First Steps. It's insane to me that a film of this caliber has only received a single set, a construction figure at that, but admittedly it's nowhere near as bad as something like the Ant-Man one. You get all 4 members of the Fantastic Four. The figures aren't fantastic, but it'll fit well into D tier. If you now want to hear me go into detail about the Fantastic Four vs. Galactus construction figure though, I recommend you check out the video on screen right now, but mainly I hope you enjoyed, and until next time, goodbye.